What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show. We discuss everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., and money investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. We cover it all here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure to click the subscribe button down below right now, as it's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember those times so you don't miss out on new videos here on our YouTube channel. And also, thanks so much for hitting the like button for us down below. We got a lot to talk about here today. Europe is now trying to wean off of Russian oil and gas. We'll be hearing from them here about how the problem here is that Europe can't ban Russian oil like the United States did. They just physically can't. They just use too much of it. Countries would literally go under rolling blackouts if they did so. The US could, because they use anywhere from like 3 to 8% of our imports were from Russia, and mostly the West Coast, California, um, Hawaii, and the West Coast there. So Hawaii actually just stopped importing Russian oil before the president even announced it. So the U.S. was able to do that very easily. And remember that the U.S. actually is a net exporter of oil. The U.S. is the #1 world's producer of oil. In fact, the president said that the U.S. actually produced more oil than all of Europe combined. Yeah, so, but the U.S. actually net exports more oil, or not more oil, but the U.S. exports about 38% of our oil. A lot of that has to do with the oil companies, Exxon, Chevron, BP. So that has to do with, you know, the companies selling the oil. It's all traded on the oil markets, okay? So, but the strangle, the sanctions are being put on Russia even more day by day. Check this out.
Europe gets around 45% of its natural gas from Russia. Hungary, Slovakia, Austria, and Germany are amongst the most energy dependent, and the EU has pledged to cut its reliance on Russia by 2/3 this year. The Union's been looking at alternative sources of oil and gas, and the potential includes Algeria to Turkmenistan and beyond. Kadri Simpson is the EU Commissioner for Energy. I'm very grateful the Commissioner's joining us tonight. Thank you, ma'am. It's good to look. I saw your speech today about geothermals, and I've seen your comments. The reality is, it's not going to be easy, as the Commission President has said, to wean Europe off oil and gas in short order.
Well, indeed, but for Europe, this is a turning point. There is a strong consensus that we must end our dependence on Russian energy as soon as possible. And it is clear that it is very challenging, but it is doable. And as you mentioned, well, more than 40% of our gas comes from Russia. And this is about 155 billion cubic meters a year. And most of this is pipeline gas. It cannot be replaced overnight. But we believe that we can increase the LNG deliveries by around 50 BCM annually. And in fact, LNG deliveries have already increased significantly, and particularly from the United States. So this has helped us this winter. And we do have also good contacts with other reliable partners. With some of, we do have pipeline connection.
It looked, and perhaps it is self-serving within Europe not to sanction the one thing that would have deprived Russia of most of its revenue, which is oil and gas. Now, I understand there would have been a price to be paid by European countries, particularly Germany, but it looks self-serving that those countries weren't prepared to do it.
Well, we just adopted the fourth package of sanctions since the beginning of the war, and there has never been a response on this scale by European Union. and in such close coordination with our allies. And these sanctions are actually working. So we see the effect on the Russian economy already. The stock market is closed and ruble has lost half of its value, and companies are fleeing the country. So we have imposed sanctions also in energy sector to exporting energy technologies to Russia, and we have also banned any investment in the Russian energy sector. So what we are doing in parallel is reducing the amount of Russian energy we consume. So we cannot stop using it overnight, but we can make this progress very fast, and we are determined to do that.
Is nuclear power part of your grand plan to wean off Russian oil and gas, and indeed for the energy transition? Now, look, I agree. Nice to have wind, solar, geothermal, all of these will play a part. I'll give you that. But nuclear power will give it in large doses and actually perhaps is the key. Are you countenancing that?
Well, we are counting on all the alternatives. So yes, we have mapped all the additional gas volumes that we can get from our partners, well, starting with Azerbaijan and Algeria, or LNG from United States, Qatar, or Egypt. We are also planning to double our own biomethane production. And then, of course, where we consume natural gas a lot, this is housing. We have to renovate buildings so that we can save gas.
I think that's a good point. Things like power plants that provide power to cities and such really shouldn't be using oil at this point, or even coal at this point. The more so that they can move away from, things like that and move towards renewables or even nuclear. Things like power, solar, wind power, thermal, and nuclear. Once you have those investments in there, of course, you can't just have just solar, just wind. Those are kind of supplementary. But once you kind of have those investments there, they just keep producing. Same thing with nuclear. Once you make the investment for nuclear, it's just there for decades. Where the problem with oil or coal is that, one, it's dirty, and two, you have to continually buy it over and over and over and over and over. So, and then you look at what's going on today here with the price of oil, the price of energy. It's just expensive. And then if you think it's expensive now, where do you think it's going to be in 10 years or 50 years or 100 years? Where if you set up a nuclear plant, if you set up solar, you set up wind, relatively you have some maintenance and stuff like that, but it's mostly set up. It's it's renewable. And yeah, you maybe have to replace the panels occasionally, replace the turbines occasionally, but by and large, that kind of renewable power is going to be good for our country. And the best thing about that is that we don't have to rely on other countries for anything. Now, yeah, granted, here the U.S. is, we have to drill. I get it. But remember, at some point, way in the future, stuff like that's going to run out or run low. I mean, I don't know if it's going to run out, but the more renewable, the better, right? And remember, we should really be saving that type of stuff for cars, and for factories that need it. I mean, the more kind of stuff that we can get that is like, like power plants and stuff like that, we could really should be transitioning that type of stuff. Over to nuclear and over to solar and wind and that type of stuff. Let's save the electric. Of course we're doing some electric cars right now, but I mean, we know that the vast majority of cars that are already made are gas. We can't switch over old cars to get, from gas. And it's just so the EU's got a big concern there with Russia, because they want to wean off Russian oil and gas because Putin, right? And it's more of a concern for them. The U.S. was able to do that to sanction Putin and not do business with him anymore with that. But imagine if you were Europe and surrounding them. Meanwhile, we have more states announcing more plans to help out our residents because of the price of gas. Georgia, Governor Kemp and the General Assembly plan to temporarily halt the state gas tax and provide relief to Georgians. So, yet another state trying to put more money back in the pockets of their residents because of the high price of gas and because of um, the Russian war driving the price of gas up. You can see here Atlanta or in Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp announced that he plans to work with Georgia General Assembly to temporarily suspend the state's excise tax on motor fuel sales. In Georgia, the average price of a gallon has risen to over $4 a gallon since March. Researchers further estimate that the average American household could spend an additional $2,000 a year on gas as the result of increases in fuel costs, on top of a record high inflation already impacting families. Governor Kemp, in conjunction with Lieutenant Governor and the the Georgia House Speaker, will take measures to alleviate the burden placed on Georgians. The measures will take effect upon the governor's signature of HB 304 and remain in effect through May 31st, 2022. He says, quote, because of our strong fiscally conservative approach to budgeting, Lieutenant Governor um, Duncan, Speaker Ralston, and I can confidently propose a state motor fuel tax suspension to curb sky high gas prices while also returning money back to hardworking Georgians through a tax refund and an income tax cut. Hey, another state doing both of those. Those are really good. With this latest measure, we are making it even more clear that in Georgia, we are going to empower families to keep their money in their own pockets. Yeah, pretty cool there. So I applaud the lieutenant governor is applauding the governor. They're kind of applauding each other, and they look forward to working with their colleagues in the Senate to quickly pass this measure as a counterweight against the extreme rising in gas prices. Also, in Nassau County, Democrats are proposing suspending the county's gas sales tax to ease pain at the pump. So there's also could be county gas taxes across the county as well. So in Nassau County, Democrats are proposing suspending the county gas sales tax as well. So Nassau County, New York, with the price of gas soaring, legislators are proposing temporarily suspending the county's sales tax on gas. Sales tax. Um, Legislator Josh LaFans said Wednesday that temporarily suspending the county's gasoline sales tax, which is 4.25%, would help residents save money at the pump so they could continue to drive to work. So that could actually be a lot because it's a percentage. It's a percentage. They said, quote, gas prices will continue to rise and we don't know if there's an end in sight. And this is something that we could do that is a concrete action that'll help make up the difference in somebody's life. Yeah, LaFonce, who is running for Congress, said the county can make up for the losses by using stimulus money. We have major money coming in from federal stimulus money. It's supposed to be used to relieve the taxpayers. So this is the way they can do that. Even though the county is going to take a loss with the lack of sales tax revenue, we have ways to make it up. And more importantly, even though the county will be losing tax dollars, Those are hard-earned dollars of the men and women in this county. So anything we do to keep those dollars in the pockets makes it easier for them to live here. They said, quote, government gets so much wrong, and it's why people are so disillusioned with government. So if government can actually step up and do something, then it's something government should do. And they went on to say that people spent too long inside their homes because of the pandemic, and they should not have to do that again because of gas prices, which probably a lot of people are doing right now, deciding not to drive because of the cost of gas. They said, we want people to get out of their homes. We want them to patronize our restaurants. We want to shop in our downtowns, but the high price of gas is making it cost prohibitive. Yeah, and as you can see here, war and inflation have a lot of people calling for more stimulus checks, and we actually have real proposals in Congress and an actual bill, or maybe two in Congress right now, and a lot of different things going on here. And you can see from states as well, and counties as well. If you've been watching my channel, there's a lot of different things going on here right now because of inflation. Because of inflation, it's actually been a renewed flurry of stimulus checks, proposals, bills, ideas actually being passed on the state level, almost in record time on the state level. There's just so many different states going on here in crazy fashion right now because a lot of states are just flush with cash right now. Yeah, absolutely. Just and honestly, 2022 is probably going to be the year we actually see the most states stimulus checks, stimulus programs, whether they call them anti-inflation stimulus checks or gas tax reprieves or whatever they call them. 2022 actually could be the year where we see the most stimulus checks or stimulus programs from states here this year, interestingly enough, which is actually, I don't know, dare we say that the tail end of the pandemic, which is crazy because just a month ago we had that huge spike of the pandemic, which was the highest ever. Remember, we had just a month ago 1 million cases per day or more. We had a day that was like 1.4 million cases. So I don't want to, I'll cross my fingers and my toes and say, I don't even know. Are we nearing the end of the pandemic? Because just a month ago, we were at the height of the pandemic. I mean, 1.4 million cases per day. I remember reporting to you guys that before that, the height of the pandemic was 300,000 cases per day. And just a month ago, we had several days over a million cases per day. Yeah, so who knows with this pandemic, man? It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And right now, China has full blown lockdowns of 37 million people on lockdown right now. So I know people want this pandemic to be over. I know the whole out of sight, out of mind thing, but it ain't out of sight for people in China right now. And remember what we were just going through a month ago. I know right now the topic is inflation and war. Who knows what it'll be in a few weeks. Um, I know. Hopefully, we can get those two under control. But I will keep you up to date here with everything. I know it's insane. It's crazy. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on our new videos. After subscribing, click the bell icon next to the subscribe button that will appear after you click the subscribe button, so you don't miss out on new videos. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in at those times every day so you don't miss out. I will keep you up to date. You can click here to watch my newest video next, and you can click here to see the details on the $3,600 stimulus bill. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.